All right, you thought I was kidding with Jim getting Wally Pip. This is the wrap-up show with John and Ben Fadden on this Monday evening. Ben, the good luck charm as the Padres snap that 10-game slide at Coors. Will be with you for the next hour as you make your way in. As always, we ask that you subscribe. That's the only thing we ask you to do. We ask that you subscribe if you are a Padres fan. I'm going to tell you more about Ben Fadden's Talking Friars channel coming up in a moment as well. We ask that you subscribe to that as well as he helps us out on this Monday night because Jim is soft and on a date. Please hit the notification bell for us. Please smash the like button for us tonight as well. Please follow us on Twitter at John Schaefer at Talking Friars. We're not promoting Jim tonight. At John Schaefer at Talking Friars. A great way to support this channel, supporting both this channel and Ben Fadden's channel, is to consider a super function. You can click that $ down below if you want to make sure to get your comment in here tonight by hitting the super chat function. We'll get to all the supers here tonight. And you can also join this channel. There's a join button down below next to the subscribe button. So, Jim, I've been running around. I said, Jim. Ben, I've been running around all night. Padres find a way. This was not easy. Even with 3 home runs, this was not easy. Taylor Rogers made it hairy. But first of all, man, thanks for hanging out. And what are your impressions on a Game 1 win for the Padres in Colorado?
Thanks for having me. Yeah, first off, Jim is soft. Yeah, my impressions with this game is the offense, at least the top half of the offense, showed up. Crony had a big day. Abrams had maybe his best game in a Padre uniform. Great on defense, had that home run. Manny hit an absolute bomb. So the top half of that lineup showed up. And then it was Taylor Rogers. Just, it's a big question mark. You know, the Padres have had a big history of having great closers, and I'm not saying Taylor Rogers isn't one. Obviously, he was great at the beginning of the year, but his last 5 appearances, he's allowed 5 runs, or excuse me, last 5 appearances, he's allowed 7 runs. Hasn't had a scoreless appearance yet this month. I mean, it needs to improve. And Nabil Crismatt, after tonight, his ERA is under 2. When are they going to start thinking about having Crismatt maybe pitch those 9th innings? Or maybe they don't do that. Maybe they just do like a Josh Hader role, or they do a Andrew Miller role back with the Indians days, where they just have him pitch against the best guys. You have Crismatt go up against Blackman and Crone, guys like that. And then if the situation presents itself in the 9th inning where it's easier guys, maybe you go Rogers then. But right now, Rogers is not the best reliever in this bullpen right now.
I agree with you. Before we get into this game, and again, thanks for hanging out, guys. We see you making your way into the chat. Please subscribe. Please, if you want to make sure we get your comment tonight, there's going to be a zillion comments. You can use that super function. Please consider joining this channel as well for custom emojis and badges and members-only content. So before we get started, I'm trying to pull up your page, Ben, on YouTube. I'm going to put a link into the chat. For our viewers that are here that aren't familiar with Talking Friars, why don't you tell them about what you're doing day in, day out?
Yeah, so I got the YouTube channel, which you just mentioned, just Talking Friars on YouTube, and daily Padres content there, series reactions, pregame shows before every game, postgame reactions, just like a minute after every game. I already have that up for tonight. And then on Twitter, I'm hugely active on Twitter there, at Talking Friars for all the social media stuff. I have the highlights, not just highlights, but some lowlights as well during Padre games that I'm not at. Bullpen usage charts, a lot of Padres content, and during the day, throughout the day, posting some stats, all that stuff. And I love interacting with Padre fans, and I've had a lot of Padre fans run into me at the ballpark and talk to me, so that's been great, and I really appreciate all the support there. And I want to give a shout out real quick to John and Jim. I know we give Jim a lot of crap on here, but they had me in the studio the other week. I hope I can come in probably during the All-Star break. We'll see if we can get that done. But they didn't have to do that, and they allowed me to go in and sit in on their show, and I really, really appreciate that. And so shout out to them, and then shout out to all you guys in the comments. You guys are huge for their channel. I know that they talk about that every night. And so, yeah, I appreciate you having me on.
Well, first of all, Ben, I appreciate what you are doing in this community. I just put a link to Ben's YouTube channel. Please subscribe if you don't already. I know he'd love to get over 1,000 subscribers. He's pushing 1,000 right now. He's doing great work. He really is. He's doing incredible work for Padres fans. I was joking today. I felt bad, Ben. I'll be honest with you, because we were joking today about the power rankings, and I just like off the cuff was like, "Who's coming up with these power rankings?" Like Ben and Darren's producer and Jim and my dog and my wife. I was basically saying, "Who the hell cares? Like, what even are power rankings?"
Yeah.
But Ben really does incredible work. So we're gonna talk all night. Ben knows as much about the Padres as we all do, as anyone does. So let's get into it. And again, if you want to make sure we get your comment, you can use that super function. So my takeaways here are it's been a house of horrors, Ben. Any way you can win is a good win, especially the way they're playing, especially with this banged up offense. To hit 3 home runs, something they've done 3 times all year, which is really incredible because they've lacked that slug all season. And for CJ Abrams to have a big moment, I thought that was pretty big for this team as well. And then they found a way to win. We'll get into Rodgers. Is it a problem? I think it is. The bullpen in general has had some shaky moments. There's no question about it. And the offense on the whole has not been great, although it's hard to discount what they did tonight, scoring those 6 runs. I know they weren't great with men in scoring position other than the Abrams hit. But it's hard to be critical, and we will be tonight, I'm sure. But when you win at a place you don't win, and when you need to just get into the All-Star break, maybe going 4-3 here, this is a nice way to start it off, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, they got their 50th win this year, and you talk about the offense. They scored 1 run in those last 2 games of that
Yeah.
Giants series. And going into this matchup, I was kind of saying on my pregame show, this pitcher for the Rockies, Urania today,
Yeah.
like that start that he had against the Dodgers last time out, like 6+ innings, gave up I think 1 run. He's been pitching well for the Rockies, and so it felt like it was going to be tough going in. Didn't know how the guys were going to play at Coors Field, but they got on him early. I think that was a big key with in that first inning, Crony having the single, and then obviously starting it off after Crony. Who was the two-hitter today? It was
Was it
Manny.
not Manny? Yeah, I
Manny,
was gonna say
right?
Manny. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then Mazzara had
Yep.
the double, Voit had the sac fly.
Mm-hmm.
Just finding a way to produce a run. I know we want the power bat and all that, and I'm sure AJ is going to be looking for that, but not every run's going to come on power. I know 3 of them did, or 3 home runs today, but not every run is going to come on power. You got to be able to produce runs, and they showed that in the first inning. You hope that they can do that consistently throughout the lineup, not just the top half of the lineup. But I mean, I'll take it for tonight.
No doubt. And again, thank you guys for hanging out. We're just getting started here on the wrap-up show. We'll tell you about our partnerships, including with our title sponsor, Mark Nimitz, in a moment. And again, we appreciate the supers as they roll in. I want to get to the first super of the night. Again, if you want to weigh in with a super and make sure we see your comment and interact with it, you can hit that $ down below. Again, Ben Fadden in for Jim, who is on a Monday date night, which I consider to be somewhat suspect. Who's dating anyone on a Monday? Padres are playing. Anyway, let's start with our buddy 619 Cam. And Cam, thank you as always for your membership and for your super here tonight. So this is what Cam says. It was ugly, but I'll take it. And maybe it's a start to a good last week before the break. Welcome, Ben. And always love the show, John. Cam, we really do appreciate your viewership and your listenership and your support. All you guys hanging out with us. We greatly appreciate it. Myself, Talking Friars, Ben, with us here tonight. Here are my thoughts. So we can get into this more. We touched on it briefly. This final week is not the week to get greedy, really. We'd all take it. I mean, take 6-1, 7-0, 5-2. That's great. But if you can get a split here, if you can take 2 of 3 from Arizona, if you can get to the All-Star break 12 games over 500 or better, you've done good work on the whole for the better part of 100 games in the absence of Fernando Tatis Jr., with injuries in your offense right now, with the Manny Machado ankle situation, with adversity. Bob Melvin's been in and out as manager even this year. They've had adversity. And is it the best team in baseball right now? It's not. Have the Dodgers run away a little bit in the NL West? They have. But, Ben, we can't concern ourselves unless you disagree with what the Dodgers are doing. The Padres need to put themselves in a position to get in the postseason. And if that means winning the NL West, great. If it means just getting in and taking your chances, I think that's hard to complain about as well at this point.
Yeah, because you talk about the Dodgers, the Padres and the Dodgers, they've had 2 separate scenarios and 2 totally different situations. The Dodgers, yeah, they were without Mookie for I think a few weeks with the rib injury or a couple weeks, however long that was. But the Padres, they've been out without Tatis for the entire year, for up till now, and probably for the rest of the month, I would think. They've been out with Profar or without Profar after the concussion. Hopefully he's doing good. He's in the clubhouse and all that. They've been without their 8th inning guy probably in Drew Pomerantz. They don't have Jose Castillo up here, which still doesn't make sense, but he's not up. Michelle Baez isn't up. I think they've been late, to be honest, in pulling up Ruiz, who's on the taxi squad now. There were some times during the season where Gore had some bad starts as well and put him in holes. Same with Snell. So they've faced some big adversity this year. You talk about Bob Melvin. So, yeah, right now, what are they, like 8 games back or something of the Dodgers for the division? Like, yeah, you can't worry about that right now. Maybe you can worry about that in September when it feels like they play them 30 times. But right now, it means nothing. What means something is winning the games that you can win, the games that the Dodgers would win, and trying to keep pace with them and keep that wild card spot. Because right now, things are getting closer and closer for every 2-8 stretch, every series split when you should have won a series. That happens with the Padres right now.
Yeah, no doubt. I think that's well said. I really do. I have this, like, I put my head on the pillow. This might sound stupid, but when they're playing bad baseball, you're thinking right back to 2021. It just wasn't far. It's just not far enough away for me not to think about what happened. And I think about a 2021 team that was 15 over 500 after the All-Star break and still had that collapse. Now, was it different? Yeah, it was. I mean, this pitching's better. There's no question. Was that lineup better? I would say it was, based on where we are right now. Was the postseason structure different? It was. Only 5 teams are going from the National League this year. 6 teams are going to go. So if they can get into the break 12 games over or better, I'm going to feel good about where they are, And could they be better than that? Absolutely. Could they be worse than that? Absolutely. And I want to get to this from Kevin because I know you tweeted this out immediately after it happened. I saw it on Twitter. I didn't see it live. Trent Grisham's defense has really left a lot to be desired. I'm surprised, to be honest with you. I mean, it's been a couple of weeks stretch where it's misplay after misplay, and they've been very costly. I mean, it's not 1 base misplays. It's 2, 3, 4 base misplays he's had in the outfield. If you didn't see it, Ben has it on his Twitter page at Talking Friars. Ben, I don't even know how to describe it. I mean, he was shallow to begin with. He got a poor read on a ball that literally just went by him to his side. A very rare play for a center fielder to have a ball go off to his side that is almost misplayed and goes all the way to the wall. It's such a cavernous yard, obviously, Coors Field as well. What do you say to the way that Grisham is playing now, not just in the field, but also offensively?
Yeah, I mean, starting in the field. So, yeah, I have that video up on my Twitter, and I know this is a dumb comparison, but it's the comparison I can think of. I played high school baseball, played center field at Helix, and I was a defensive first center fielder. And during batting practice, whenever line drives were hit to center, that feels like it's the worst feeling ever. You always go back. Like, that's what I did, at least. I always went back on the ball, and then I can always go in. And I wasn't someone that played super shallow because it's easier to go in on balls than it is back. And that doesn't seem what Trent Grisham's doing right now. It feels like, and this might be on, who is it? Macias, whoever the outfield coach is. Right. I know he's not there right now, but whoever the outfield coach is and with the alignment, maybe they're aligning him shallow and want him to play shallow. But they got to play him farther back. It's just not working right now. Like, this play today, I didn't see the second angle if they showed it because I was just clipping that first angle. But it was those balls either go back on it, or if you're going to go straight sideways toward it like that, how about you put your glove out or try to dive for it? Like, that's what I would do. If it's going to get past you, it's going to the wall. It's going to be a triple anyway, even if you dive for it and miss it. So why not try to do that instead of pretty much just, it looked like a joke, to be honest, when he's doing that. Like, there's that. And then offensively, obviously, with his OPS at like 600 or something.
Or under, right?
Yeah, batting average at under 200? Yeah, thank you for the Padres for bringing up Esther Ruiz to at least the taxi squad because they might need him tomorrow. If I'm not saying you send Grisham down, but put him on the bench a little bit.
No, I think your point is valid. I mean, here's the thing, Ben, and you watch more of this than anyone does. I mean, you're watching every pitch and every game and every out. I have no idea what he's doing so shallow there. And maybe that's because of some defensive alignment. And he plays a shallow center, in my opinion, too shallow of a center at times, and he's been beat. with balls over his head. He's also had just some weird misplays. To be that shallow in a ballpark that's that cavernous against a hitter that's as quality as Charlie Blackmon, to me, just makes absolutely no sense. Now, with all that being said, he's in perfect position just to make a play. If he gets any read on the ball, and there's factors maybe, I don't know if it's the sun setting, if it's glare related, he's not playing there every single day. I mean, there's a zillion things. They could just ask him. I mean, maybe there's a reason. I'm sure there's a legitimate reason. And then also it's just weird. I watch him, then the ball gets by him, and he's not even in a sprint to the center field wall. He's in a quickened jog to get after the ball to the center field wall. It's just, I don't know. I watch his game sometimes defensively, and I'm amazed that he won a Gold Glove. I mean, I really am. I am unbelievably shocked that he won a Gold Glove in 2020.
Guess what happened during that Gold Glove season?
Okay.
There was a lot of plays that he made when he dove. That's what I remember, at least,
I
from
do remember
games that I
too.
watched. A lot of diving plays. Was that 2020, the diving play that he made in San Francisco in the right center gap? That one stands out to me.
Yep.
Like, he made those plays. And I've said this to multiple people just watching Grisham in center field this year. It feels like he thinks he's Manny, like being cool like Manny and being smooth like that, but he's not that great at defense compared to Manny. I know it's two different positions, but it feels like he's being a little relaxed and needs more urgency out there.
All right, we're going to get into the win. I mean, there's a lot of things that we like out of this game. There's some things we can discuss that didn't go well, like Trent Grisham's play there. Also, like Taylor Rogers there. Taylor Rogers in that ninth inning. Sorry, trying to do multiple things here at once. Before we get going, thank you guys for the supers. I'm going to get to the supers again in a moment. We do want to remind our viewers about our partnership with Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance. He's the title sponsor of the wrap-up show here on YouTube. Mark is currently in Hawaii, which means he's enjoying both Hawaii and a Padres win this evening. If you have auto, home, renters, or life insurance needs, please consider Mark Nimitz. Also earthquake insurance needs. He can save you $750 on your insurance. Simple as that. You switch to Mark Nimitz. He can save you $750 or more on your insurance. I have my homeowners and my earthquake insurance through Mark. I recently had a claim in here. He saved me thousands of more dollars because of the claim, and he made the process super simple and easy, and he got us back into our house literally in no time. I mean, this could have taken months and months and months, and he shaved so much time off of the experience for myself and my family, so we thank Mark immensely for that. But whatever it is, auto, home, renter's life, earthquake, if you own an electric vehicle, he can save you money. He's just got great service and communication. And best of all, he's a huge Padres fan. That's a San Diegan. So if you're a San Diegan, if you support this channel, if you want to support a local business as well, please consider our buddy Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance. To get to his site, there is a link down below for Mark. Click on that link down below. You can get a quote from his website in just minutes. Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance, the title sponsor of the wrap-up show. And Mark, we greatly appreciate your support of this channel. All right, I want to get back to the chat.
Did you see this? Hang on one second. Did you see this from Mark Nimitz? He replied, I think, to one of your tweets when you talked about the Grisham play today.
Okay.
And he said, unacceptable, trade him.
I wonder what do you think, Ben? And listen, Mark's a lot like most Padres fans, which is he's fanatical, which I love. I mean, you get, you're high with the wins and you're low with the losses. I've been critical of Trent Grisham this year as well. I mean, what would Trent Grisham return at this point with the year he's had and even the 2021 he had? He's controllable, but I don't know how much value he really has in the open market or at the deadline. I mean, what do you think he would return?
Not a whole lot. I think another thing that the Padres, or at least if I'm looking at it from Preller's standpoint and his viewpoint, I would think that he's like, well, what if Ruiz doesn't do good? Or even if he does, we're still thin on outfielders right now. Like, even if you call Ruiz up, you rather have a Zokar on the team over Grisham. Like, if you trade Grisham, so a Zokar is going to be playing a lot. I know he's been playing right now a lot already, but he's not looking great either.
Correct. I mean, here's the thing. If you're moving Grisham, you better have a plan that isn't even Estuary Ruiz. I mean, Ruiz, we have no idea. I mean, he's a AAA player right now that's had an amazing minor league season, but you got to have a major league caliber center fielder to replace Trent Grisham. Now, maybe they could go acquire one. I think that's possible. I don't know if it's probable.
Who are those? It's Brian Reynolds, who that's not going to happen.
Who went on the IL today.
And then Ian Happ, right? Those are the two guys that stand out.
And Happ's not a rental.
Yeah.
And nor is Reynolds. So you're right. It's not going to be an easy acquisition. That might be the reason why Trent Grisham is playing center field in the second half of the year for the Padres, even though it's not ideal. Let's get to Alex. Alex, thank you for the super. Thank you guys for hanging out. As you make your way into the chat, please subscribe to both this channel and also Talking Friars. We put a link earlier in the chat to check out Ben Fadden's page that's dedicated to the Padres as well. Please make sure to smash the like button for us. Follow us on Twitter at John Schaefer, also at Talking Friars. And again, if you want to make sure we get your comment or see it and interact with it, you can hit that $ down below to weigh in with a super, which is a great way to support this channel and Ben's as well. So Alex says this: say CJ hits 280, going up, Ruiz does something to you by the deadline. You think it will make AJ trade Grish and or Crone with them being blocked? Here's the thing. I don't think Crone is really blocked because he plays multiple positions. You can move him to first. So if CJ hits, I think you play CJ and Cronenworth at the same time. In regards to Grisham, I think there is a scenario where he can lose playing time to an Azokar or a Ruiz or someone based on performance. But in regards to Cronenworth, I'm riding with Cronenworth, in my opinion. I feel as if, Ben, you're going to say the same thing. I think he's a key contributor. Has it been the best year? Maybe not. But has he been productive? Yeah. He's had some very productive moments, including tonight. Tonight, nothing more evident than what he did tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. That's not going to happen with Cronenworth being blocked anywhere. He's going to play first base if this scenario happens. Hosmer would be on the bench or DHing, at some point. Cronenworth, we saw it tonight. We've seen it numerous times, which I love. We've seen it numerous times already the past week, 2 weeks, where Bob Melvin has put Cronenworth in the game and taken Hosmer out. He's very comfortable with putting Cronenworth at first base. Personally, right now, Cronenworth's the best first baseman on this roster, and he doesn't even play first base. That's not his position. So his versatility, he can play short, can play second, can play first. He's been great in the shift. He's hitting 2 or 3 in your lineup pretty much this entire season. And, people that saw my Twitter, I got to meet Croney the other day, and so I might be a little biased, but I'm looking at the numbers too. Like, this guy, he's very, very valuable to this team. If there's someone that's going to be blocked, him and Manny, those seem like 2 guys that are easily not going to be blocked anywhere on this roster.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, Cronenworth, listen, offensive numbers around baseball have been down. So Cronenworth is probably not going to have a quote-unquote career year. I mean, even if he spends, 6, 7, 8 years in a Padres uniform, if not more, maybe this won't be his best offensive season, but he's productive defensively. He's had moments offensively, and he's helped them win some games here, including tonight. You're not winning tonight without Jake Cronenworth. I mean, there's no scenario where you win tonight. Not to mention the defensive play he made. That ranging play was a heck of a play. It really was here today. So, Alex, as always, thank you for the super. I want to get to this one from our buddy Michael, who's in Mexico. Thank you, Michael, for your membership and the chat here tonight. So this is a good point. I do not disagree. When you put it this way, Michael, I don't disagree. He says Grisham has trade value. He's 25. He's won a Gold Glove. He's a former first-rounder. He's got years of team control, and even last year had an above-average offensive year. Not saying he'd return a fortune, but he has value. And you're probably right. You're probably right, Michael.
Who does this also sound like?
Who does this also sound like? This would also sound like it's currently a Padre?
Yes.
Who am I missing right under my nose?
Eric Hosmer.
Oh, well, Hosmer's not.
I know he doesn't have like trade value, but you're literally he is controllable because he's under contract for the next 3 years.
But controllable at that low number.
Gold Glove winner, years of team control, and there's some people. Yeah, there's some people that continue to say, "Oh, this guy's having an okay offensive year. It's not like he's being terrible. He's not a liability." I had Alana Rizzo on from MLB Network the other day, and she tried to make that argument. It's like, watch him on defense. He is a liability, So Grisham, yes, he has more trade value than Hosmer. But a lot of those characteristics there, that sounds like Hosmer.
Fair, but I'll say this. Hosmer's in his 30s, Grisham's in his 20s. Grisham makes what, $900K a year? Hosmer makes $20 million. So there's reasons to acquire Trent Grisham. There's no reason to acquire a Hosmer unless you're getting prospects attached to him, All right, let's get to thank you, Michael, again for the super. I want to get to this one from our buddy Christopher Wright. Michael, thank you for the super. As always, thanks for hanging out with us in the chat here tonight. Thank you for your support. Okay, so he says it's ugly. ugly wins turn into losses in time. It was not pretty. No, it wasn't. And give Colorado some credit there late as well for not quitting on the game. I was a little surprised, to be honest with you. Rogers pitched to Crone. He fell behind 2-0. He then threw a 2-0, 94-mile-per-hour fastball, middle in, that Nomar Mazara could have made a play on, by the way, and right. It would have been a hell of a play. But then I'm thinking to myself, oh, my God, he didn't make this play. You know Crone's coming through. And then Crone, to Rogers' credit, got out of that spot. But, man, you are playing with fire, Ben, right? I mean, in that ninth inning, Crone in the batter's box, tying run at second, winning run in the batter's box. Like, you can't do that every single night and expect to win every single night. That's for sure.
Yeah, and that fly ball to right field down that line, it was Azokar in right field there or Mazara?
It was Mazara.
Okay, yeah, Mazara. When you miss that, it feels like it's like, okay, there's that opportunity.
Yep.
Don't give him another opportunity here. It always feels like when there's pop-ups in foul territory that are dropped, you give him another pitch to hit, and he hits an extra base hit, but they got the win. That's all that matters. But you obviously hope that tomorrow's win, if they get a win, is 6-3 instead of 6-5, with Rogers kind of crumbling there at the end, like he's pretty much been doing for this entire month.
And then who was up? Who was up at the ninth inning? It was
Joe had the double. Blackman had the hanging breaking or the
no. I'm
double
sorry. Who
down
was
the
up
right
in the
field line.
bullpen? Who was up in the bullpen? Didn't the Padres have someone up at the ninth inning? Behind Rogers, I think that they had someone throwing in the ninth inning there, and I forget who it was.
If it was, I would probably guess it would have been like Garcia.
Yeah, it must have been Garcia. I just saw it out of the corner of my eye. Someone was throwing, and I'm like, oh, this is interesting. This is interesting. That maybe I thought if Crone reached, that would be it for Rogers in that spot, and that's very possible.
Well, yeah, because if Crone reached, I mean, you're in real danger. I mean, they
really
were
are.
already in danger, but yeah, if Crone reaches, like, that's the game right there.
No doubt. Let's get to the super from Jesse, our buddy Jesse Mendoza in Hawaii, like Mark Nimitz, the title sponsor of the wrap-up show. Jesse, thank you for the super. Jesse says, we were the better team. Rogers just almost blew it. Yeah, I think that's accurate tonight. Padres never trailed in this game. Scored in the first inning. Ben, like you talked about earlier, hit 3 home runs. Manny included, Cronenworth, C.J. Abrams showing off a little bit of power as well. Yeah, I do think the Padres outplayed the Rockies here tonight, but we all know that's not necessarily what matters. Padres have had some late leads that they've lost this year. They've also had some comeback wins this season as well. To your point, Ben, it's like at the end of the year, we'll never circle this game. It's just a win. I mean, you'll circle a couple of losses maybe, and potentially those losses are the reason why you are out, or a couple of wins are the reason why you are in. But this is just one of 162 over the course of a year, especially when you win it, and it's the middle of July, and you're just trying to hold on until the All-Star break.
Kind of feels like they have a lot of these. Yeah. Wasn't there a stat during the game, during the broadcast, that they said that the Padres had like the third best record in baseball this year in one-run games or something? Like they're in a lot. Mm-hmm. And some of them, like tonight, they shouldn't have been in a one-run game in that ninth inning. It should have been bigger. And so, yeah, the bullpen is obviously going to be something that's going to be talked about, and everyone wants a bat, and there's more holes on this roster than, just getting one bat. You could talk about Adrian Morejon returning possibly this series. I know he's on the taxi squad. Michel Baez, Jose Castillo, a bunch of guys. There's no guarantee that those guys pitch great when they come back either. I mean, it's great that they're coming back. And to be honest, why do we still have Stammen on the team when he's going to be out for a while now? But there's a lot of holes still.
Yeah, there are a ton of holes. I mean, I do agree with that. And I don't even know where you start. Do you necessarily, I might have to start now from the end of a game and work backwards. I mean, good teams have to have effective closers. Simple as that. The closer situation here, it's one thing if it's a blip and it's 3 consecutive outings over the course of a really good year. Mark Melancon never went through something like this last year. Never, ever, ever. He may have had 2 or 3 bad outings in a row, but never beyond that. This guy, Taylor Rogers, has been, I would make that trade 100 out of 100 times and has had his moments, has a 9 ERA. I don't have it in front of me, but essentially a 9 ERA since May 28th. And that's not good enough for a team of this caliber. So it has to be addressed, you would think, because the wheels have fallen off with Taylor Rogers. And I don't trust his slider, and his fastball is hittable right now. And then from there, you hope to get healthier in your bullpen. I think they can. Offensively, I don't know where you start. I had Dan Zimborski on today from Fangraphs. He says, well, I think you have to start with an outfielder because they just have to get more production out of those three positions in general. They just have to do it. So outfield, obviously, I think you could make a case for certainly upgrading at first, however that is, if it's Cronenworth or a first baseman that you're upgrading with. Starting pitching, you could even talk about that because the Mackenzie Gore situation, I don't know what they're going to do with him in the second half of the year. Mike Clevenger coming off Tommy John. Nick Martinez, has been a guy that's gone back and forth between the rotation and the bullpen. Like, I don't think you can go wrong with adding starting pitching, but if you were adding one thing right now, Ben, if you could only add one thing, what would you add and why?
Okay, so here I'll ask this. If I was AJ Preller, what's my payroll at? Am I going to be able to clear salary with other teams, or am I just going with the $1.5 million that they have room right now? Because if I'm doing that, it might be one of those relievers because relievers cost less than those outfielders or a catcher. And, like you can try Chris Matt right now to be the closer and just see how that goes. Kind of like the Padres maybe trying Esther Ruiz in center so that they don't have to have Tatis there when he returns just to make sure that works and just use this time for that. I would personally go there. But I was saying this on the pregame show. Like, everyone can say they want Brian Reynolds or Josh Bell. First of all, how many first basemen do you need? I like Josh Bell, but like that's going to be a problem at some point. You need two sides to tango here, and so what do the Cubs want for Wilson Contreras? Is Luis Camposano and someone else? Is that enough? I don't think so. What about Ian Happ, who has, I think, multiple years of control? There's going to be other teams that are interested in him. The Yankees are interested in Andrew Benintendi. Like, yeah, we'd all love to have this fantasy team, but the Padres right now, part of it's Preller's fault. They just don't have a lot of room to work. So I think we got to know what Seidler's willing to do. Is Peter Seidler willing to go over? Right now, I don't think he is. If he's not willing to go over, okay, then now you got to look at teams that are willing to take on these contracts, Lamet maybe, someone like that, and you attach a prospect there to clear room so you can go add, a Josh Bell type contract where it's like $5 million the rest of the year or something like that.
I think you said that very well. By the way, Cam, I'm not sure. Has anyone signed Trevor Rosenthal? I don't believe so.
I don't think so. I don't know why they would do that though.
Yeah.
Like, who was that A's release? Yusmeiro Petit. He still hasn't come up yet. I have no idea what's going on there.
He's been toiling somewhere in the minors. Yeah. I would say this also about the payroll, Ben, and I know you read this today. I read this today. I wasn't acutely familiar with this, but it's not just dollars. You're also giving up picks by going over. Because if they go over for a second consecutive year, they're giving up real picks. Their second pick and maybe their fifth or sixth pick in next year's draft. Like, you're giving up pick 45. Like, that's a real pick. I mean, you should hit on those picks. Not that they're hitting on all of them. And they've missed, and every team has. But teams have missed on pick number 1.
They're hitting on a lot of them. I'll say that. Yep. We can bash Preller for trading away Ty France or for trading away Cal Quantrill, but this guy, he hits on a lot of his draft picks. Now, the developing, that is definitely something that is okay to bring up, and it's definitely a good argument or a good talking point. Yeah, this guy, this farm system, they just don't develop guys greatly. Totally understand that. But he's hit on a lot of guys. Abrams, Hassel, looks like he's on the Futures game roster this year. James Wood, Weathers, at some point he was hitting. Hit on Quantrill, obviously. Like, he hits on guys. And so, yeah, these draft picks are very, very valuable. And so when you're messing with Preller's draft picks, that's a problem.
Right. It might be as much Preller. Like, we talk about, hey, is Seidler going to go over this number? But like, to our collective points here, does Preller want to give up picks in the future to try to win now? And you could look at that from two sides of the equation. Is he concerned about his long-term future with this organization? Probably not. He signed through 2026. So if he's not concerned and the media is, what does he really care? If he's thinking about both the now and the future, then he might be hesitant to give up picks. If he's solely focused on the now, maybe he'd be willing to do that. The only way to avoid going over and make any sizable move, to your point, is getting rid of salary. The problem is their salary that they've spent is poorly spent, and none of those players this year are producing. Even if Hosmer was producing, it would be tough. Even if Myers was producing, maybe final year of a deal. Pomeranz, we haven't seen him. Lamet, don't even get us started. It's not like he's making a fortune. You could save a couple of $1 million there. Jim has argued before like a Hassan Kim type move, which has some cost savings to it. You could argue, Jim made this point today on radio and yesterday, I think, on the wrap-up show. Those five combined to make what, $60 to $70 million this year. If you didn't have any of those players in your organization, would you have an identical record this year? Probably, because you'd replace those five players with someone, and you'd probably have another $40 or $50 million to play with. But I don't know if they'll be able to move any of those players. I think they'll be able to move Lamet. That's my guess. I think someone would take a flyer on Lamet at that cost and say, I can, quote unquote, fix him. I don't know about the rest.
I keep bringing up Joey Gallo. I've been listening to some Yankee fans, and this last series against the Red Sox, they were not happy with the bullpen depth that they have. And so if they can say, hey, we've seen what Lamet was in 2020, and when this guy isn't hurt, we think we can fix him. Because GMs are probably like us, right? If we were in the GM chair, we would say, hey, I think I can fix this guy. Joey Gallo is striking out every time that he comes to the plate. Why not give him to the other GM that loves this guy, who is a former Ranger, and we can bring in Lamet? And look, that might turn out to be better for us, speaking from the Yankees side, than having Joey Gallo on the team when we know he's not going to have at bats for us in October, which the Yankees obviously are making October. They have a huge, huge lead on that division.
Mm-hmm.
So I keep thinking the Yankees there for Lamet, possibly. But yeah, teams are definitely going to say, I think we can fix Lamet.
There's a lot to get to. I want to get to this from Renee in a moment. Before we do that, I do want to remind our viewers about our brand new partnership with Omar Sanchez at Edge Home Finance. It is great to have Omar on board here on the channel. He is the newest partner of the wrap-up show. He's a huge supporter. He's a huge supporter of this channel. He is a huge Padres fan. He went to San Diego State. He's a San Diegan, and he is here to help all Padres fans with their mortgage. Simple as that. You can text Omar right now. You see the QR code on the screen, or you can text him literally right now. He is there for you, 619-387-7798. He's your San Diego native mortgage broker. Again, lifelong Padres fan, San Diego Stater, lives and dies on the Padres like we all do. And whether you're looking to buy your dream home, he can help, or he can help you refinance to consolidate your debt. If you're in the process of buying or refinancing and you'd like a second opinion to make sure you're getting the best deal possible, just call or text Omar. He is there for you with a free consultation. If you're a realtor, Omar is looking for local partners as well. But again, he is here to help all Padres fans with their mortgage needs, whether you want to get into the home of your dreams or you want to refinance to consolidate your debt. Please consider our buddy Omar Sanchez at Edge Home Finance. Again, Omar Sanchez, 619-387-7798. I meant to take that comment down during this. That's my bad. Sorry about that. Omar Sanchez, Edge Home Finance, edgehomefinance.com. Again, scan that QR code on the screen right now if you have any mortgage needs. All right, John and Ben hanging out with you guys here on a Monday night. Padres win it over the Rockies 6-5 at Coors, snapping a 10-game losing streak. That's right, a 10-game losing streak in Denver. As you make your way into the chat, whether it's live or on replay, please consider subscribing. That's all we ask if you're a Padres fan, is to subscribe and smash the like button for us, and follow us on Twitter at John Schaefer, at Talking Friars. If you want to make sure we get your comment, you can hit that super function. And if you'd like to support this channel as well with custom emojis and badges and members-only content, you can become a member by clicking that join button next to the subscribe button down below. Yes, where were we? We were talking about Cano.
Yeah.
So of course he went two for three today. Of course he singled off Max Scherzer in his first at bat, right? That's just how this works.
People are surprised by that.
No one should be.
Yeah.
Baseball.
Yeah, didn't he he got off to a pretty good start with the Padres before he tanked it. He's playing his former team. He still had the Mets glove on, by the way. Like, you're telling me he doesn't have a chip on his shoulder? Like, this guy, he's still like, we got to remember, he was like on the track for the Hall of Fame before he decided to take steroids. Like, this guy's still a good hitter. He knows what he's doing. It's not a surprise that he had a good game today. He's just not the same guy that he used to be. Padres had some younger guys to come in, and there you go. That's why that happened. And I said it when he went to El Paso. Props to him for doing that. He could have just waited for another major league deal or retired, but he went down there, mentored CJ for a little bit, Eggy Rosario, Esther Ruiz. Good for him, and now he's with the Braves. So, you got to give props to him for going down and wearing those SpongeBob uniforms.
You do. I agree with you. In terms of what happens, I mean, we've barely mentioned it. I mean, we've alluded to it. Cronenworth, huge night, offensively and defensively, homering 3 hits. He's been unbelievable, of course, in his career. Machado now, you think about Thursday and Friday homering. Yeah, the weekend wasn't good for anyone when you look at the scores, obviously, but Machado homers again. That's really encouraging. Nomar Mazara, 2 more hits. The top of this lineup, I know you talked about it earlier, was productive. The bottom of this lineup had C.J. Abrams. That was about it. Jorge Alfaro had an infield hit in this game, but Abrams had the big hit in this game. You don't win without that 3-run home run from C.J. Abrams. Listen, the offense...
The Alfaro hit, by the way, was huge because they won by 1 run, and he legged out that infield single, and there you go. There's the difference.
That's right. That's right. And I would just say this right now. It's like there's no elixir. Fernando Tatis Jr. could be, because he's capable of being an MVP over the course of 60 games. We've seen it. He could be huge, or he may not be, because he's coming off a really big wrist injury. And we can't just assume he's going to hit 330 and, drive in 44 in 60 games and hit 15 home runs. That's not inevitable. It might be possible, but it's not inevitable. And like you've talked about as well, I mean, even adding Josh Bell, or any one piece, there's no guarantee. Any one piece could struggle. Any one piece could get hurt. Any one piece doesn't make the entirety of a lineup. Look at the Angels. So, there's some things here that you're led to believe could help, like Machado getting healthy and Tatis returning and the trade deadline. But at the end of the day, Ben, I think they're going to have to survive on an average to below average offense with good starting pitching. Like, that's the formula even in the second half. Even if they get to an average offense, I don't know if it's ever going to be, a top 10 offense at any point. And if it's not, how are you going to win? And the way you're going to win is with good starting pitching and hopefully a bullpen that's performed a little better than what we've seen over the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, and while you were saying that, this team kind of reminds me of the 2019 Nationals. Like, really good starting pitching, the potential to have that good bullpen. Juan Soto was amazing, right? That's Manny. Ryan Zimmerman. Okay, can Hosmer get hot in the postseason? People like to bring up that clutch stuff. They have talented young guys on this team. They also have veterans. Not a ton coming from the catching position. They had Yan Gomes that year, but they found a way to get it done, and it was led by their starting pitching. And I think the Padres rotation is better than that Nationals rotation. Now, that doesn't matter. They got to compare themselves to the Dodgers because they're going to have to get through the Dodgers at some point. But right now, I feel like they compare to them a little bit right now.
Hold on real quick. That Nats 29 rotation, this is your rotation. Strasburg, Corbin, Scherzer. I mean, and that was Strasburg humming. That was Scherzer humming. And Corbin was 14-7 with a 3.2. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'll give you Musgrove for one of those guys. Absolutely.
Darvish?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Are Darvish's numbers this year as good as Scherzer's numbers were? Remember, Scherzer wasn't even the number 1. Right. Like, is Darvish, Scherzer, or Strasburg of 2019? I guess he's capable in the postseason.
He had what, 2 or 3 bad starts? Yeah. Everything else is
mid threes,
something like that. Everything else is 7 innings, 1 run.
I buy that. I'll give you Darvish. I think Darvish could be successful in the postseason, although his career numbers would indicate otherwise. And then Manaea. I mean, we haven't even mentioned Sean Manaea, by the way. Shamaniah
tremendous.
pitched really well. He pitched really well in this game.
6 1/3, yeah, walked one guy after throwing only 5 more 5 more strikes than he did balls on July 4th. I was at that game. That was a long game to watch.
You're not kidding. Hold on, Sam. He says, "Really, John? Come on." Okay, this is for the chat. This is for the chat. So either Strasburg or Scherzer as a 2, or Darvish as a 2. The 2019 Strasburg Scherzer as a 2, or Darvish as a 2. I mean, listen, I think Darvish has been good, but the idea that he's been better than Scherzer or Strasburg when they were both healthy, I'd love to see it. Not to mention Strasburg and Scherzer have had success in the postseason. That's something that Darvish has never had. So again, and Jim's talked about how I like this rotation. Don't get me wrong. I just don't know if I'm infatuated with this rotation. I think Snell is capable. We've seen him in the postseason have success. Right now, the only guarantee for me every 6th or 7th day or whatever is Joe Musgrove. The other pitchers have been effective, if not good, if not better than good. But to me, it's not a lights out rotation. It's a very good rotation led by an ace in Joe Musgrove. I mean, do you disagree with that? I mean, or do you agree with that?
I think it's a very solid rotation, and I trust Shamaniah. Yes, there have definitely been clunkers, but I trust Shamaniah probably more than the regular fan might. I think the regular fan might look at those July 4th starts or the Dodgers start earlier this year. If he can pound the strike zone, I think he can give you a quality start. Maybe they need a better than a quality start because of the offense, but Myers, Tatis, guys are Profar guys aren't healthy right now, so that might be a different story. But yeah, I see Sam's comment here. He loves you, but he's not 2019 Max or Strasburg. Yeah, Strasburg was amazing, and he got a
Right.
lot of money off of that 1 year, and now the Nationals are probably regretting that. Scherzer obviously is Scherzer. You don't need to go into him too much. But Musgrove, I trust him with my life right now. And Darvish, to be honest, it would be really close. I might trust
Yeah,
him a
that's
little bit
fair.
with my life right now. He's been pitching really, really good. And I know you need more than 2 starters, but you got to remember Nick Martinez out of the bullpen. This guy has been really, really good out of the bullpen for the Padres. And then again, I trust Shamaniah. Gore, if they give him some rest. I mean, Clev, we got to factor Clev in too. He's been good most of the time this year. Obviously that Diamondback start stands out for me. This rotation, it's not the best in baseball, but it's probably top 3.
I listen. It's not to disparage the Padres rotation because it's as good as they've had. I would just say that heading into the year, I think that there were expectations for Blake Snell. He didn't start the year healthy. Yu Darvish, to your point, has been very good. If you took San Francisco out, I'm sure he's sub 3. So to be fair, he's been very good. Shaman and I'm with you. He's a workhorse. I don't know how comfortable I'd be in like a game 2 or game 3. I feel like he's somewhat hittable because of his velocity numbers in general. But he's a very good pitcher. Don't get me wrong. For me, and I hope I'm wrong, I mean, the difference between the 2019 Nationals and the 2022 Padres is not just starting pitching, where maybe they're comparable. I would still give an edge to the Nats, at least their top 3. But the difference is Turner, Rendon, Soto. So Trey Turner, Anthony Rendon, Juan Soto for the Nationals in 2019. You can't compare. Now, maybe we can compare. Maybe we can hope to compare it when Tatis comes back, when Machado's fully healthy. And depending on what they do at the deadline, they could add a bat. They could be impactful. But comparing the Nationals 2019 second half and run to this Padres team, for me, is a bit far-fetched because the Padres have never swung it the way that team was capable of swinging it and did swing it in the second half and in the postseason. Now, again, Machado and Tatis are more than capable, MVP-capable players, no question. But we still have to, we've seen it from Machado. We need to see it from more than Machado. It's as simple as that. And maybe that's fair or unfair. We haven't seen Tatis. Maybe he'll be amazing,
What I'll say to that, too, is during that 2019 year, did we see that from the Nationals the first half of their season?
No, not at all. And they were under 500. They were way worse than this Padres team at this point.
And don't get me wrong, for anyone in the chat or anyone that doesn't agree with me or anything like that, I'm not saying that I think Matthew Batten's going to be Anthony Rendon. Like, I'm not
We get
factoring
criticized
that.
all the time. Don't worry
I'm
about it.
not. I'm not factoring Matthew Batten into this lineup. I'm saying when they're healthy. I'm saying, when Manaea's pitching like he did today, like, and the bullpen. That's when they got guys coming back. I think that's going to be a better comparison. Um, but yeah, when they're healthy, I think we definitely have a better picture in this.
Yeah, no, we'll see. There's a reason the season is played out over the course of 6 months, and then the postseason is. I mean, there's no guarantees. I mean, look at the Giants and Dodgers last year. Were they better than the Braves? Of course they were through the regular season. Nobody would have said otherwise. Who won the National League and who won the World Series? I mean, there's a lot of factors at play. There's no question about that, and we all know that the Braves did it without one of the best players in the game because baseball, is a team sport. It's not an individual sport. We're going to continue on here for a few more moments. I do want to remind our viewers about our partner, Ora, Organic, great company. Their co-founder, Will, we just met with him last week. He's in San Diego for a couple of months, in fact. He's a San Diegan. He's got offices for Ora in Liberty Station. Great to see Will, the co-founder of Ora, huge Padres fan, San Diegan, loves this team. We spent like 2 hours just talking about the Padres when we met last week. If you click this Take the Quiz button on the screen, you're getting 30% off your very first order. This is a plant-based nutrition company, which means all of their products, every single one of them, is plant-based and healthy for you. Their products are affordable as well, but if it's probiotics, I take one every single day for digestion, or if it's proteins for after workouts or pre-workout supplements or omega-3 oils or sleep supplements or immunity pills, there is literally something for everyone that can improve your health. It's a great site. You can shop as you watch the wrap-up show. It's ora.organic, ora.organic. Again, Will, their co-founders of San Diego, like Omar Sanchez at Edge Home Finance, like Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance, all of the partners we work with support this channel, support our local channel, and support the Padres as well. So if you support this channel, please support our local partners, including Ora at ora.organic. Ben, what else have we missed here tonight? I feel like there's a lot going on this time of year. Just 3 weeks to go until the trade deadline. Padres kind of middling right now, trying to go into the All-Star break, playing good baseball. What did we miss on here tonight?
I mean, I wanted to talk about the 1 through 3 hitters. I know I talked about it at the beginning, but Crony, Manny, and Mazzara tonight. 7 hits, drove in 2 runs, scored 3 runs. A main player, Mazzara, specifically. Obviously, we talk about Crony and Manny all the time, but Mazzara. I mean, I keep saying this. Why can't they start this guy every day against lefties as well? Like, he's hitting 5 for 10 off of them this year. If they don't try him against lefties, they're never going to see if he can start hitting lefties again. I know the career splits or whatever they look at, they don't like, but like, you got to give him the chance. Like, you'd rather have Jose Azocar hitting than Nomar Mazzara?
Right. It's a good point. It's a very good point.
He's hitting over 300 this year.
You're saying just plug him in and see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. At least for the next, give him a period of time to do that. Let's see if it works out. Give him 2 weeks to do that. Give him 3 weeks. He's hit. Carlin, sorry. I just saw your comment saying that we missed your super. That'll happen. That's my bad. Trying to do a million things at once, as you can imagine. So sorry. And thank you for the super. Thanks for your membership. This $2 super, Ben, is because you are not wearing a white shirt like Jim always wears in the wrap-up show. That is awesome.
Yeah, he had one when I went into the studio too. Yeah, that's all he wears.
It's all he wears. It's either a white T-shirt or like a blue T-shirt or a gray T-shirt. Who knows who he's wearing tonight? If you missed it, he's on a date. The rare Monday night date. But with Jim, nothing's really rare because
feels like he's skipping out on a lot of these because of dates.
Ooh, shots fired, folks. Yeah, he misses a lot. He does. Now here's the thing. I think he's actually going to fill in. You might want to work with him, Ben, on Wednesday if you're around, because I need to pick up my mom from the airport on Wednesday night. She's going to be in town for about a week and a half. So
see,
if you want to hang out with Jim.
That's not being soft. That's priorities.
Yeah, I need to pick up my mom, who has not seen my son in over a year and lives in Philadelphia. So,
right.
Yes, I will be picking up my mom for the airport Wednesday night. Hopefully, the Padres can win. So it's a 4-game set. Is the 4th game a day game? I'm presuming it is.
4th game is a day game, and then they got the 3 games against Arizona.
Remember last year heading into the deadline, and they were playing fine baseball. It wasn't amazing right then and there. I remember I was away that weekend, but I remember watching. Was it Arizona or was it Colorado into the All Star break, and they lost 2 of 3. Whoever it was, they were at
Yeah,
home. Was it
I
Arizona?
remember. I remember there was one series that might have been when they got swept earlier before the deadline or before the All Star break, but they got
Hmm.
swept by Colorado. Everyone was freaking out. I guess I'd have to look at the schedule, but
Yeah, I don't know if
yeah, both
they didn't
years
play well going in.
they've had pretty similar records these last 2 years, right? Going till right now.
Hmm. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely, they were very similar a year ago. Do I like the prospects of this team more than last year? If I'm being honest, I really do. And I talk about this all the time: radio, YouTube, and I can go through highs and lows like anyone. I do like this team more than last year, only because of starting pitching. So I think the starting pitching is vastly improved from what they had last year. And if they get the offense going, there's no scenario in my mind where it ends up like last year, where they're 79-83 with this type of starting pitching. Now, we've all been wrong before, but I don't think this team's going 79-83. I
Right.
just wonder, though, if they can, hold off teams like Philadelphia, San Francisco, right? I mean, I wonder if they can play as well in the second half as well as they play the first 6 or 7 weeks of the year when they have a lot of Dodgers and Giants games still coming up.
Right. Yeah, at this point last year or right before the All-Star break, yeah, they lost 2 out of 3 to Colorado. Stammen was pitching
Yep.
in
I
these
remember that.
games.
Hmm.
Yeah, they were 53 and 40, and right now, so that's 13 games over. Right now, they are, 12 games over, so they're pretty much around the same area, and Tatis was playing in a lot of those games, and he has not played in 1 game this year.
Kevin, have you seen Jim tweeting over the last 60 minutes or so, Ben? I think he
Is
was
he?
tweeting earlier. He was tweeting earlier. He tweeted a couple of things. Like he tweeted something you clipped, right? On Abrams'
Oh, yeah, yeah,
defensive
yeah.
play.
Yeah,
It wouldn't-
he tweets a lot of my videos out.
he
Um,
does.
yeah, he said, 12 minutes ago, he said, "Wait, what?" I think to your tweet about me coming on today.
Dude, come on, Jim. Are you in here? He should be commenting if he's in here. I don't think he's in here.
No, he's not gonna do that because then he's just gonna get dragged. You're on a date and you're commenting on a wrap-up show.
Well, why is he on a date and on Twitter?
Maybe someone went to the bathroom?
Maybe that's possible. This is a great point from Gil. I think we should spend a little more time on Abrams, who's completely untradeable. Okay, he's untouchable, obviously. He's a part of the future of this franchise. There's no question about that. What's his ceiling? We have no idea at this point. Watching him, he's just a youngster who's blossoming before our eyes. But Abrams has been much more comfortable here in his second stint than he was in his first. And defensively, the guy's brilliant. I mean, he can make some really unbelievable plays. Does he show his youth at times? Yeah. Well, how could he not? He has no professional experience. If you look at his career, has he had some bad base running moments? He has. Has he made some great defensive plays? He has. Has he gotten on base with more regularity here recently? He has. And the hit he had today, I mean, that was a smooth stroke, and that ball traveled for forever. So, you know what? No matter what happens in 2022, I think a lot of Padres fans should be high on CJ Abrams moving forward, regardless of what happens from here on out this year.
Yeah, entering today, so far in July, he's hitting 313.
Mm.
So, yeah, a lot better. And what it feels like he's just more comfortable, maybe a little more aggressive, than he was the first time through. I think that's what I'm seeing from him. Fielding, I mean, he made great plays, in El Paso when he was down there.
Yeah.
Made another good play today. Like, the fielding's there. Yeah, sometimes there's some throwing errors, but we saw that with Tatis a lot last year, so we can't complain with that. I just think he's getting more comfortable, to be honest.
Matthew, this is overly optimistic. I kind of want to I'll say this: if they go 6-1 into the break, which is 5-1 now, maybe I'll buy a new Padres cap, and I have 17 that I've purchased in the last 2 years, probably. Yeah, I hope they do. I really do. But to go 5-1 with 3 more games in Denver and then 3 home games against Arizona, it's possible. I hope it happens. I hope it happens. I wouldn't bet all my money on them going 5-1 in their last 6 games, but better chances than heading into tonight when they needed to go 6-1 because they won game one.
Yeah, yeah, 6-1. Yeah, that's very optimistic. Especially when you don't know totally what you're gonna get out of Snell every time out, and remember, this was their first win in 11 games at Coors Field against the Rockies. And they won't have Musgrove during the Arizona series. They'll have him Wednesday, but they won't have him during the Arizona series.
Right.
Yeah, 6-1. Don't think that's going to happen. I'd probably be fine with 4-3, and be really happy with 5-2.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you. 5-2 would be awesome. I mean, 5-2 would be really good. I mean, you could split in Colorado and go 5-2 if you could sweep Arizona. Although it feels like Arizona's due to at some point have a decent game or two against the Padres. So yeah, 5-2 would be great. I'm with you. I would take 4-3 as well. Okay, you probably need to get out of here. I probably need to get out of here. Are you up against anything here right now, Ben? Do you
Nope,
have a handful of more minutes? Okay, we can
I'm
hang
good.
out for
Yep.
another 10 or so, guys.
Yep.
I think this might be the longest. Well, this might end up being one of the longer wrap-up shows we do. We normally do about 55 minutes. Again, if you guys are here, we appreciate it if you subscribe to both this channel and the Talking Friars channel that Ben Fadden runs day in and day out for Padres fans. Please smash the like button for us as well. Follow us on Twitter at John Schaefer, at Talking Friars, if you want to make sure we get your comment. And if you want to support this channel and Ben's channel as well, you can use a super. The way to do a super chat is click the $ down below. And also, if you want custom emojis and badges and members only content, you can click that join button down below as well. And thank you guys for the kind words. Thank you, Josh, for hanging out. John and Ben, no, Jim will be back from 3 to 6. Jim will be back. The one thing Jim is good for a day is he does not miss the show. But he will miss this show, but he will not miss his radio show. So I'm trying to think what else is going on here. You saw the quotes from Stammen, though, about like, hey, he hopes to pitch again this year. Again, I mean, that's of no consequence to the Padres' success in the second half of the year. And I kind of hope that they get healthier from the system with the Morahones and the Castillos, maybe make a move at the back end of their bullpen as well. So they're not going to need Craig Stammen in the second
No,
half of the year.
no. What I will say is I kind of admire and hate it at the same time when he's telling Kevin Acee that I was hiding the shoulder injury and not telling anyone. Like, there's a lot of games where he gave up home runs, and we don't know if the shoulder was hurting then. So you would have liked him to tell, the trainers and all that. But at the same time, you kind of admire him, going out there and, trying, because he knows his role. He knows that he's probably not going to be pitching in high leverage situations. I know he pitched in that high leverage situation at Dodger Stadium last weekend or whatever, or last couple weekends ago.
Mm-hmm.
But
Like
that's
at a
pretty
tie
much
game,
all.
right?
Yeah, an opening day, like, those are the 2 high leverage situations
Yep.
you're gonna see him in. He knows his role. With that said, you're telling me that a bad-shouldered Craig Stammen, you get that, would that be better than Reese Kinnear up here? I don't think so. Is that better than activating Adrian Morejon? I don't think so. I still don't understand why Jose Castillo's not up. Michel Baez seems like he's making progress. Like, if he would have told the trainers, a couple weeks ago, if this is accurate, and he told Kevin Acee this, so I assume it is, they could have had some probably more effective arms up here.
Yeah, no doubt. No, I agree with that. I do. I think they'll be fine with bullpen arms. I do think they need one additional high leverage pitcher, if not more than that, to be honest with you. They need to find an additional high leverage pitcher. They need to hold small leads because they're not going to score 10 runs every game. And when they have 4-2 leads and 3-1 leads and 3-2 leads, it's the 7th inning. They need to have Bridges 7th, 8th, 9th. And, at moments this year, they've had guys to complete that trio of innings. And other times they've had some leads that they've lost. This is an interesting question here from AC Diamonds. That's what I'm wondering too. Where would Abrams play when Tatis and Cronenworth are on the field? No, they have plenty of room because Cronenworth can play first base, and Abrams can play second base. And Tatis, by the way, can play outfield, and Tatis can DH, and Tatis will not play every day at short this year. It's just not going to happen. So even if you play some time at short, that leaves some time for Abrams. If you play some time in center, that leaves some time for Abrams. If he DHs, that leaves. So I think they're fine with playing Abrams, Tatis, and Cronenworth at the same time, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah, and we got to also remember Voit and Hosmer, they have reverse splits this year. So if there's a lefty on the mound, you put Hosmer as the DH. If there's a righty on the mound, you can put Voit as the DH. Like, that's what can happen. You have Manny at third, Tatis at short, Abrams at second, Croney at first. And then my ideal outfield, when Myers comes back, is probably like Mazzara, Ruiz, and Myers. right now. Like, probably just try that. And that's a better line. Alfaro catching, obviously, most days. I know Musgrove likes Nola, but most days having Alfaro catch, that's a much better lineup than what they had this past weekend, where you had Friday night, right? You had Batten in left field
Hmm.
for the City Connect day, and Azokar and Grisham. Not playing Mazzara every day. I still don't understand that. Like I've already mentioned, that's how I would line that out.
Who's tomorrow? Is it Clevenger tomorrow?
Yes,
Okay, so
Clevenger against Austin Gomber, I believe.
so Clevenger will go in game 2 of the series tomorrow. Like you said, he's had some very good moments. We'll see if he can give him length because he's kind of stretched out at this point where they're not overly concerned with his pitch counts or innings. So hopefully, he can give him 5+ innings tomorrow. And you don't know what you're getting into, obviously, with games at Coors. I will say this before we wrap. Listen, I don't know what options there are to spell Taylor Rogers in the short or long term. I know there are options. I know there's guys, there are closers that will be available. I would have said Baltimore's closer, but Baltimore's red hot. So there are going to be closers that are available. There will be high leverage 8th inning guys that will be available. And if you think about the way they molded Taylor Rogers, it was a little bit unconventional. Yeah, he had closed before, but he was not a primary closer for the entirety of his career. He had a half season or a full season, and they put him into that role, and it worked really well for 2 months, and it's been really bad for the last 6 weeks. But I wouldn't discount A.J. Preller's ability to find that pitcher that could outperform Taylor Rogers at the trade deadline, because I feel like if Preller's done well in one area during his tenure, it's with closers. So I wouldn't be shocked if they put their foot back into that well and try to acquire someone that could pitch some 9th innings for them, because this isn't – I don't see it as sustainable, Ben. I don't know how he regains form. It's just like at this point, it's like every time it's on the mound, I'm just crossing my fingers and kind of hoping.
Yeah, what we saw at the beginning of the year with him, he was throwing fastballs up, right, in the zone pretty
He was.
well,
Mm-hmm.
and he obviously not hanging the breaking balls. Those breaking balls were down, the slider was down, wasn't hitting guys in the foot like he did in that Arizona game. So if he gets back to that, he'll be better. But like I mentioned earlier, I think going to Chris Matt, trying it before the deadline, see how that goes. Because yeah, I think Chris Matt, he's great pitching multiple innings. He can still pitch multiple innings and go the 8th and the 9th, and Robert Suarez will come back at some point. I don't want to try Garcia in that role. I don't really trust him to do that. But maybe they want Chris Matt to be pitching in the closer role where it's not the 9th inning, but it's the Andrew Miller type role where you're just pitching against the best batters, whether that's the 7th inning or the 8th inning or the 9th inning. Nick Martinez, him and Gore, like those are interesting to me. Like, what do they do with Gore? To be honest, for me, like through the All-Star break, I would rest McKenzie. Like, don't even pitch him. Just give him an extended rest right now. You can have a spot start if you want. You can bring up someone from the minors or have Reese Kinnear start that, and then have Chris Matt throw or Martinez throw after him, or have Martinez start a game. That's what I would do with Gore right now, and then Martinez. He could be maybe one of those Andrew Miller type roles later in the year instead of piggybacking guys. If Clev can show that he's consistent, or if Snell can show that he can be a little bit consistent, maybe you go with that path. So there's still some internal options. I'll say this: the lineup. That's obviously everyone's going to focus on that,
Sure.
and it's definitely worth it to focus on that. Totally understand why people would focus on that. But the bullpen, it feels like Preller is going to get someone there because, like I mentioned with the payroll, there's not a lot of room to add a position player. So if he can't get something done, kind of like last year where he probably thought he had the Hosmer deal done, and that's why he traded for Frazier, if he can't get something like that done this year, maybe he just goes with a little bit of bullpen there and tries to find, dump a contract, Lamet, and try to find a cheaper outfielder.
Potentially. I mean, that sounds a little bit like Frazier, Hudson, Marisnik. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, it's not sexy. I will say this. If they didn't have the internal strife last year, I think things are different.
Mhm.
So this year, I actually think, to your point, I think you could go with that route, and they're not going to be like, oh my gosh, how did they only acquire, and again, I'm making it up, that caliber of player and pitcher. You're not going to hear they're going to play behind Bob Melvin. There's not going to be some type of animosity between the front office and the players and the coaching staff of the players. This is not going to happen. If they're not good enough, they're not good enough. That's possible because it's professional baseball at the highest level. But whatever AJ Preller is able to do, Bob Melvin's going to be okay with. I think Bob Melvin, if you listen to him day in and day out, like you do, Ben, and like I do, I think he's kind of telling the front office, like, we need some more. I know you're not going to bring us Juan Soto or Mike Trout, but we really probably, this needs to be rounded out. And we'll see what that means. What does rounding this out mean? We're going to find out over the course of the next 20 days. Alex, thank you for the super. Alex says, I doubt the O's would give him up, but I love Jorge Lopez. I'm with you, Alex. I mean, unless they go on a slide, which is possible, there's still enough time. I mean, if Baltimore reverts to form like the last 10 years and goes 5-15 over the next 20 games, they'd punt on it maybe. But I mean, Baltimore right now is playing good baseball. So I don't know, but I do know this when it comes to relievers, Ben, there'll be a couple of dozen that probably could help, and they'll be in on at least a few of them, and they'll probably land one or two of them, and it won't be overly costly.
Yeah, he's making like $1.5 million this year. So yeah, he's one of those, low cost guys. But to that point from Alex, like, so are a lot of other teams. They love Jorge Lopez, and so are the Padres going to be willing to give up, a top prospect or something? I don't know his like full contract situation. Let me see here. It doesn't look. I don't think he's a free agent at the end of the season. He probably has multiple years of control, but yeah, it's a good option. But there's going to be a lot of other teams that are going to be interested in that as well.
Before we get out of here, did the scores around the NL West, did the Giants lose or not?
Giants are down 4-3 in the ninth right now.
Okay, so they're down bottom 9 with a man on. I want to say nobody out. What's the deal with the Dodgers? I haven't been paying attention today. Did they play today?
They didn't play today.
Okay, so Padres are 7.5 back. They gained a half game for whatever it's worth.
And the Dodgers play St. Louis tomorrow.
Okay, so maybe a chance for we'll see. I don't know if it's better if the Dodgers are winning those games or the Cardinals. I don't know if we're even at that point yet, but you get my point. There's a lot of teams in contention for playoff spots, including St. Louis. All right, Ben, before we get out of here, can you tell our viewers again that are here live or on replay how they can connect with you everywhere, YouTube, social media, with all the work you're doing day in, day out?
Yep, Talking Friars on YouTube, at Talking Friars on Twitter for the bullpen usage charts, pregame show links, video clip links, the game highlights. I know a lot of people love that. Lowlights as well. I post stuff that other main sites, main publications, they don't post. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. I also have Instagram, TikTok, all that. I love communicating with fans. I try to get back to everyone that replies to me or wants to talk. So feel free to hit me up there. And yeah, feel free to give me your thoughts on YouTube in the comments whenever I put out videos of content that you want to see. I'm sure John and Jim want that as well for any ideas. I know the trade deadline's coming up, so players you might be interested in. I know that I have 2 trades right now that kind of stand out to me. I don't have them on hand right now, but there's 2 players. Brandon Drury's one of them, and I'm blanking on the other guy, but 2 trades where they're not making a lot of money. So if you feel like you can identify any other players like that, feel free to send it our way.
Great stuff, man. Really appreciate you hanging out tonight. Again, thank you for your support of this channel. And again, we are huge supporters of Ben Fadden and Talking Friars. So if you're looking for even more Padres content, there's a lot to go around. I mean, whether it's Ben, whether it's us, there's a lot of people in this space. We support most everyone in this space, but kind of primarily Ben Fadden. So keep up the good work, Ben. Do want to remind our viewers again, if you are here live, please subscribe and smash the like button. If you're here on replay, you can hit that thanks button for us as well. Great way to support this channel. Please support our partners. Mark Nimitz at Farmers Auto Home Renters Life Earthquake Insurance. He's your guy. He can save you $750 per year or more on your insurance. There's a link down below for Mark Nimitz. Ora.Organic. Our buddy Will is their co-founder. You can save 30% off your very first order by clicking the Take the Quiz button down below for Ora, plant-based nutritional products, stuff for literally everyone. Then there's Omar Sanchez at Edge Home Finance. If you have mortgage needs, please go with Omar Sanchez at Edge Home Finance. Scan that QR code up above right now, and he can get you everything you need for your dream home or to refinance as well. Anything you need related to your home, please let Omar Sanchez, another San Diegan, help. And also there's a link for Omar's website down below. All right, I'm just going to click on a couple of these on the way out. Were you talking about Bednar is not coming back, right? He's not coming back. Were you talking about Bednar? No, he's gone.
No. Bednar's not named. No.
Yeah, he's not coming back.
I think it was another position player.
Yeah, and I agree with iOS guy. It hurts a lot less that you get Musgrove in a deal for Bednar. Thank you, Matthew. Appreciate that. Thank you guys for hanging out here tonight. Again, we'll be back tomorrow night, game 2 of this series. Theoretically, Jim will be back or he'll be on a date. Ben, thank you. And for Ben, I'm John, and this is the wrap-up show presented by Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance. Have a good night, everybody.